No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, SwampSwimmer, and with me, as always, the stank to my Empire Sonstall, Vespasian.
Nice. Hey, everybody.
So, Vespasian, there's something you wanted to talk about, stuff going around the forums, about a general idea of what makes this game good or bad. What did you want to talk about?
Yeah, there was a forum topic about rules complexity, which I think has been kind of a waterfall topic off of the direction of the game and kind of where it's heading. But it was a concept that I'll be honest, I never really thought about it in this way, but I saw some people describing, the way that the Ninth Age has worked on rules clarity is by using this concept of sort of like nesting rules together, right? So for one example that people use is like when you look at a unit's entry, there's not too much information on it, but that's because the large model classification incorporates the fact that it gets a stomp. Right?
I see.
This, that. So it's like the rather than having a sort of a distinct set of rules that are then all used one by one, right? Like for example, frenzy includes a series of other rules in it, right? So this rules nesting construct, which helps tremendously with rules clarity, but it ends up meaning that sometimes, especially if people are less familiar with the rules, it requires you to reference sort of multiple locations and multiple documents to understand exactly what's going on. And and so the sort of counterpoint in the discussion was, is this the right structure to use? Is that rule clarity that valuable that the added complexity that is required to achieve it is the right investment? So I thought it was interesting given our previous discussion about getting new players into the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, wanted to kind of ask your opinion, like where's your head at on that, and then also the broader community. What does everybody think about it?
Well, I think first off, I think really one of the biggest goals about the Ninth Age project was rules clarity, and to get rid of rules and ambiguity, and more importantly, getting rid of loopholes. Like stupid tricks of the rules, and that was a big objective of Ninth Age. So I think that's something that cannot be sacrificed. I think in order to get rid of this rule complexity, the game literally has to be simplified, which that I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I think a lot of people play Ninth Age because it's so complicated and because of the depth of the gameplay you get because of the complexity of the rules. But I also very much see the argument that this is it's a huge learning curve. It's such a barrier to entry, and that is causing us to not grow as much as I would hope. So it's really a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. I think the concept that they're currently traveling down is the core rule set is complex, but they have introduced what is it called? Essence of War, which is the pared down introduction game. I don't think it's a perfect system. And actually, random other thought, I have a good friend who I play Dungeons and Dragons with, and he's dabbled in numerous miniature games, but he's never really focused in on one. And he said he's really, really enjoying Essence of War. He's trying it out. God, I wish I had a definitive answer for you of where to go. I feel like there's some pieces of the game that can just be chopped out. Like, this is just off the top of my head, but like the whole hero challenge mechanic, it's like, does that need to be in there? I understand what it adds, but does it need to be in there? I don't know. What I wish I had a definitive answer for you. What do you think on the subject?
I think kind of a two-part answer. The first is, and I know this is a gross oversimplification, but I have to have my instinct is that this is a good application of the 80-20 rule, right? I think that probably 80% of the good complexity, meaning the kind of depth and immersion of the game, probably comes from 20% of the rules volume, and then the remaining 20% that is just sort of added complexity, probably only, adds like a very, very small extra amount of immersion and depth to the game, right?
Diminishing
so
returns,
I think that they're, yeah, exactly right, diminishing returns. So I do think that, one thing that somebody brought up, and I guess it's kind of like, does the fish recognize water and understand what water is, right? Like, I've been playing this way for so long that the idea just never even occurred to me, but somebody was like, what's the point of command models?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why not let people model however they want and take all of the complexity of, like, do you really need to, say that if you're paying 10 points, you get an extra combat res from a banner? It's just like, one, it's extra list building machinations. Two, it's extra things to remember in the game. And does it actually bring that much more immersion and value to it? Right?
Yeah.
So that was one example that I was like, wow, that would be a simple fix, right? And I don't know that my games would be substantively different for it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think,
little things like that. If you could kind of figure out what all of those items that are in the 20% that doesn't add a lot of value, right? Like, I think you could trim a lot of those out and just slim the game a lot. And then I watched that Essence of War. I haven't read the book. I don't really know a lot about it other than the objective of it. But I watched that Essence of War battle report from PTG recently, and I was impressed by some of the things I saw in there. Like, for one, that you don't reform units. I mean, SwampSwimmer, think about how that would change your games to not have these, like, well, if I change this unit into a 30 long conga line and have I moved any models more than their march rate, and can I get over here without getting within an inch of anything? Think about, like, taking that complexity out of the game entirely. I don't know that it would lose that much depth, to be honest, right?
I 100% agree with you. And like situations like that, I feel like the rule book needs to be pruned. Like these rules that are, as you said, the 20%, where it's just like a crazy complexity, but not adding really a whole lot to the game. And in fact, it's like the situation you said about the reform one wide, and so I get next to the scoring token. It's like it builds in like cheesiness, or like really stealing, like really crafty things that hurt the game. I agree with that a lot. I think the whole community should focus more on Essence of War and look at that as like, oh, could our main rule set be closer to Essence of War? And think about it, because right now Essence of War, from what I can tell, isn't super popular.
Yeah,
it's not. No one's paying that much attention to it because everyone's focused on the main game because it's the main rule set. And I think the other thought that came into my head is, like, you're exactly right. Does a fish understand that it's in water? I think bringing in people to the game, and this is done a little bit extent, like bringing in people into the 9th age, and I mean bringing in like people who have an influence on the rule set, like actual people who make change in the 9th age, bringing in people who have never even played Warhammer Fantasy Battle to get fresh eyes, a fresh concept. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. Even just as like a consulting group, somebody that comes in and says, like, hey, my observation is that I spent 80% of my time talking about this crap, maybe it could get, removed. Less something like that. I mean, I know that this is more complex than I'm giving it credit, but
For sure.
I do think that it would be a great way to reduce the barrier to entry, speed up games, things like that, if it could be done in a very targeted and focused way. Yeah. So thought it was a cool topic to discuss. So
neither of us are on the rules team, so but that I think that would be right. Yeah. But let's get into the battle report. That was a long intro, but we are in round 3 of the Wicked GT in Wichita, Kansas. I've had 2 wins. I'm at 31 points after 2 rounds. And in round 3, I get paired into the dirty rat bastard himself, Urand from Denver, Colorado. And Urand, this was a tough game for me. I think I got a little... you got to point out when you get a little salty during a game, and I think no one's exempt from getting salty in a game, and I think I did this to you, Urand, and I want to apologize live on camera. But let's get to the battle report. I wasn't the best opponent. I need to do better at that. So let's see. If you're interested in my list, please click the link right above my head. It'll take you to the round 1 video where we go into my list in a little more depth. But Urand is running the, I would definitely call this a net list. This is the Ogre Con super shooty list. He's got a master on pyromancy with Liger's Tongue, Talisman of Shielding Firebrand. Got a Great Con General with Destiny's Call, Kakadai's Legacy, the Aurochs Charm, and a Cult Leader. He's got the Con BSB, Double Aether Icon, Viper's Curse, Rod of Battle. He's a Troll Eater also. 8 Bruisers with Pen at the Great Grass Sky. 8 Tribesmen with Iron Fist and Benar Discipline. 2 Tigers. 5 Scrappling Trappers. 2 Thunder Cannons. 2 Stratopults. And 2 x 3 Bombardiers. I'm just going to point this out.
Anybody who runs this list should apologize to their opponent at the beginning of the game.
I think also this is pretty much and also this is pretty much the hardest counter to my list I think there is.
Yeah, I can't blame you for getting salty. I mean, I don't know how the game unfolded yet, but this is a tough list to face.
When I got to the trail end of the turns, I was getting salty, but at the end of the game, I turned it around and we talked about it and talked about maybe how I could have done something different to do better and all that stuff. So Urand's a great opponent, but I gotta do a little better at that. But yeah, it's a tough list. The pyromancy combined with all the shooting, 2 of which are catapults. Ooh, it's just a tough list. It's just super tough. But we'll see how this goes. So my one saving grace, actually, let me go back to the first sheet, is that it's hold the ground. That is something, that's the one opportunity in this battle where I can get some points out of it. And I think both of us realize that. I won the roll to go first, so I chose to drop everything because he's a shooty list and I need to get to him if I want to try anything. Let's see here. So my deployment from left to right is the Stygiasaur, the Pterodons that vanguarded out to here, Skaman Block, Thyroscutus, Skink Blender, Thyroscutus, Skaman Block, and my Caimans with my general in it. Him, so he's got a really interesting modeled army. These are all like Star Wars figurines that he found and put them on bases. It's interesting. But left to right, the Imperial Shuttle is a cannon. The Stormtroopers are the Bombardiers. This unit here is the Bruisers with all 3 of his characters in it. So this is a big kind of Death Star unit. You got the Trappers up here that scouted. He actually made this fence dangerous terrain for me. Then the 2 what are they called? The Jawa sandcrawlers are the Stratopults. The two land speeders in the back are the cats, the tigers. And then this unit over here is the tribesman unit. So that's why he responded to me. He hard cornered, which I like. That's the strategy for this list. I realized at this point, like, I think even if I pull back and run behind the hill, I'm still gonna take a big loss. So what I really have to do is just go for the center token, get the secondary, and then the points or whatever they are, and hopefully I can kill some of his guys. That's what I was thinking. So I decided to push hard. And that's exactly what I do. Everything runs over. When I drop rocks with this pterodons onto the trappers, and I don't kill that last guy, which is super annoying. And I think nothing really happens in the magic phase. In his turn, he... this is... Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting salty, and I started to forget to take pictures. So as you can see...
It does happen.
So I think this is my turn too. Again, I just continue to push hard towards the center there. And he's just whittling me down. So this is turns later. I think I gave him a long charge with this tribesman unit into my Cayman. And I felt solid that was going to be in my favor. But that didn't happen. It came in and blew out my Caymans in one round.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then throughout the rest of the game, I think he never misfired with his war machines. He only missed, I think, twice throughout the whole game. It was pretty brutal. At this point, I had already, but luckily I pushed up hard enough that I kept his big Death Star unit. He was hesitant enough to not bring it up, and by turn 4, I had gotten actually no, I got 3 of the tokens, the center tokens. And he had just he was just not far enough to march into 6 inches of this token from this spot. So my objective of getting the secondary objective was complete. And beyond that, I took a bunch of fire. And at this point, once I knew I had settled up the hold the center, I started pulling away with everyone. I just started running away. I put these guys behind the hill. And you know, I guess this is another complaint about the rules that annoys me. Like the line of sight when it comes to cannons and catapults, that you literally just need to draw a line of sight from a corner edge of their base to a corner edge of your base. It just gets so frustrating because there literally was no way I could hide these 2 models down here, both of them, from the cannons and the catapults. Because he'd move 7 inches off to the left and then just be able to barely draw a line of sight from the corner of his base to the corner of my base. It's really hard to actually hide from a cannon or a catapult that could move in the same turn, right? I think those are all the pictures I took. It was pretty brutal. It was a bloodbath on my end. He really took it out of me. It was a shooting list where a lot of the game was I was just sitting there watching him roll dice. So it was a little frustrating for me, and that's where I got a little salty. But you know, I can't complain because purely because of the secondary, I got 6 points. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more to say about the strategy of this game, but all I knew.
Can you go back to the tribesman Cayman situation?
Yeah, here.
Are you center on the hill?
Yes.
think that's a little bit of a risky play from him, right? Because I think that like if he goes in and bounces, which I mean, I'd have to look at the math, but like off the top of my head, I don't think it's that on because you have the character in there too, right?
Oh, I remember what happened now. So here's what happened. This is a long charge that came in, and it's like kind of an average charge to the flank of my Skaman block here. He goes for the Skaman block charge. And we talked about this after the game, and I decide to flee with this unit. So this fleeing unit moves to here, again, still protecting the center token, but preventing this unit from going anywhere really. And then he redirects into the Cayman block, rolls the long charge, gets into him, blows him up. So we were talking about this, and we were like, I probably should not have fled from this, because he comes in the center, blows them up, maybe runs them down. But at that point, I'm getting a great counter charge from my Skink Blender. And that Skink Blender is then getting closer to his the center of his lines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting.
I think that was the one tactical thought that like discussion point that came out of this game. He was very good with his magic defense. He always shut down my my totemic summon. I think I got off Swarm of Insects a couple times, but it didn't really do anything. Yeah. So that's the game.
Did you take Chilling Howl?
I can't remember. let me look down here. Healing Water, Scarification, Swarm of Insects, Savage Fury. No, I didn't. Oh, because yeah. The way my magic is set up, because the guy in the Palanquin has to take the one spell, and then he can take 2 more spells after that. So I can either take 5/6, or I can replace one of the 5/6 with Chilling Howl, because the Stygiasaur cannot choose Chilling Howl.
Right.
Yeah. So I chose to.
Yeah, I mean, I would be tempted
Spirit
in this match.
Yeah.
Especially with how bunched up he is, right? Like you plop that on the bubble onto like that sand crawler in the middle there, and then Pyro's reduced, Stratopults are reduced. I mean the Bombardiers are reduced. It's a big. I think that could be a big, because he'll stop Totemic, as you rightly pointed out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Swarm doesn't really do that great because he's got armor on the artillery, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, after action, but yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it's one of the reasons I love objectives, right? Is it can make games that are on paper miserable into something that's worth fighting out, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason this game was worth playing was the secondary objective. I think if we got something like, well, I guess Breakthrough, I'd still have a chance. Spoils, I'd still have a chance. King of the Hill, I'd still have a chance. Now that I think about it, when I'm facing a heavy shooty gunline list, I think any of the objectives besides capture the flags is in my advantage.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think like I said, worth playing out, and I think you played it well. If there could have been an opportunity to maybe be really aggressive and chaff with a Pterodon unit and be able to push up. Actually, I think that Trapper surviving was actually pretty big to that sort of an approach. But yeah, no, it's a shame. It's an interesting. Euron's a good player as well, and it's a good list. So. Not the outcome is not a total surprise, but I'm sorry, it didn't seem like a very fun game.
I got, again, I'll say it again, I got a little salty. I apologize for that. We all as ninth age players, I think it's very easy to get frustrated with the game and to have that express that through being a bad opponent, being salty, being whatever. And that's hard to manage, and it's something we all need to work on personally. I think it's almost like a character building exercise in the ninth age is keeping your cool when things aren't going your way because there's so much invested in the game.
Right.
But anyway, Urine, thank you for the game. I'm sitting at 37 points now, which is still not bad for 3 games, and we'll see where the next game takes us. Thanks, everyone.